Let's get this party started!
He's shining a light in the dark corners of our media.
You are fake news.
Our government.
Handling of classified documents.
And our culture.
I don't trust anyone.
It's common sense amidst chaos.
Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Here's your host, Ike Wingate.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to the show. I hope you are having a fantastic day. I know I am, now that I know that you're here with us as we are talking about the things that you need to know about. We're clearing things up. We are shining light into these muddy crevices. Sounds gross. Listen, that's a lot of what the mainstream media is. A bunch of dirty, rotten crevices full of lies and half-truths and deceit and emotional manipulation. That's a lot of what you see on the media, and we're here to clear it up. I'm glad you are with us. My name is Ike Wingate, and I am your host. And if you would like to help us in the algorithm, you can do so by giving this live broadcast a thumbs up and reposting. I see Bree on Rumble has already done that. Thanks, Bree. And on X, heart the post and repost. Whether you're watching on my channel or through the Right Side Broadcast Network X feed, heart the post and repost, or give us a thumbs up. Smash the like button, as they say on whatever other platform you're watching on. That helps us. Today's broadcast is titled, Leave ICE Alone. You remember that psycho kid who got under a table and filmed a video and was crying about Britney Spears? Leave Britney alone. That's basically the way I feel about this deal with ICE. If you people would get out of the way and shut up, they could do their job and you wouldn't have escalating horrific tragedies occurring. It is a tragedy what happened to Renee Good. Not because she's some hero, because it was completely preventable. It did not have to happen. Completely preventable, completely avoidable. And unfortunately, she's dead. Now, of course, this happened last week, and I wanted to do a show right after it happened, but was not able to make it happen. So I want to take today to clear up some of the things that are just flat out wrong about what occurred that day. What other option was there? And the fact that, Congress has approved these laws. They enacted these laws. It's for ICE to uphold and enforce. And that's what they're doing. People say on the left, you can't do that. You're supposed to be about states' rights if you're a conservative. This is a federal law. It's a federal law. Okay? You can't make laws that aren't superseded by federal law when it comes to a national security issue. You've got the supremacy clause. Federal law is the law of the land. You have these sanctuary cities that shouldn't even be legal, by the way. They are a huge perpetrator of these hot spots. And you've got Illinois and Minnesota suing the federal government. They say they're discriminating against Democrat-led states. And that's why they're sending all these ICE agents into their states. No, you dummy. It's because you have allowed mass illegal immigration into your cities and it's festering something nasty. People are getting robbed, shot, murdered, raped, heinous crimes on children as well. And these sanctuary cities have ushered it in. So that's why ICE is at your doorstep, because you are harboring criminals. You don't see these problems in Texas and Florida, Arkansas, Tennessee, because those states aren't harboring illegal immigrants. They happen to be red. But that's beside the point. It's a difference in philosophy, as in, let's focus on keeping our country safe before we just knock down the border and invite any and all in. Remember, let's not forget and lose sight of what happened here. The Biden administration literally fought states like Texas who put up razor wire to stop this invasion. They literally sued them over it. And video after video shows that Border Patrol agents were directed to enable the entry for illegal immigrants. We've seen the videos of them literally opening up the fence. They even used a front end loader to move some fence to allow a big crowd of people to come in. That's why we're here. So you can cry all you want. You can have this misplaced empathy. And I know there are good people who have migrated here illegally. I know that. But unfortunately, the good people are in with a lot of bad people. And it's difficult when you break the law and you're in a group of lawbreakers. It's very hard to pick you out if you're the good guy. If there hadn't been mass amounts of people that came in and mass amounts of crime, it might be a little easier to identify you, but I'm sorry, you came into the country illegally. It doesn't mean I don't have empathy for you as a human or that you have children. But you have to understand that I'm going to care about my children first because that's my number one responsibility. I'm going to care about my community first, my state, my country first before you. Not because I don't have empathy or I'm inhumane, but because as a responsible person that is charged with the responsibility of others, I must take care of them first. Like on an airplane, you put your own mask on before you can help somebody else. We have to keep our community safe. And unfortunately, mass illegal immigration has created a real threat to that. Priority number one for any strong country is to protect your own country. Priority number one. That doesn't mean we don't have empathy for other people and their situations. But it's gotten way out of hand and it has to be peeled back. We have to have mass deportations rather. And I think we need to have a pause on all immigration for a period of time until things can settle out. That's what I believe. And I get it. I've talked to many business owners who say, you know, we've got good people here. They've been here for X amount of years. They pay their taxes, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I understand. Could there be some sort of amnesty for people that have been here for 20 years and paid their taxes, but they never get to vote or something? I would be open to that, but that's down the road. And if those people get deported because they're hanging out with criminals, then it's just part of it. If you keep that kind of company, then you're going to get found out. But let's say you don't get picked up and we're 2, 3 years, 4 years down the road and the dust has settled on all of this and we haven't been importing a bunch of people. And then we want to start looking at specific cases. I would be open to that idea. But it's too much of a mess to be able to get choosy and picky and misplaced empathy right now because it's too out of control. Not because people on the right made that happen. Absolutely. The left owns this 100%. So direct your anger, your sadness, your gypsy tears, direct them right at the left, right at Biden, right at Harris, Mayorkas, and the like, because they created this problem. They created a situation where there are so many illegal immigrants in one place that ICE has to send in hundreds of people, and the propaganda out there is appealing to primarily liberal white women who, again, have totally misplaced empathy here. And they're getting indoctrinated and activated, and they're going out thinking that they're doing something righteous. and they have no concept of law enforcement. They've probably had very little interaction with law enforcement, and they only believe what they've been told or what they've been selectively presented on media. And, oh, the cops are horrible, they're all evil, and I don't have to do what they say. I don't know. I don't know if it's just the Lifetime movies they might be watching or what, but they have a totally disconnected view of reality and how a law enforcement officer operates. And if they tell you to move or get out of your car, that's what you do. And all the young black guys are going, yeah, we told you. Just public service announcement. When a police officer pulls you over, you need to know your rights, but don't get confrontational. Do what they say, and you fight it later. Live to fight another day in court. That's what our system is set up for. Now, if a cop comes up to you and says, "What's your name?" I think you're well within your rights to say, "Why are you asking me that? Give me your ID. Would you please communicate as to why you need that?" Like, they can give you an explanation, and I'm not saying blindly just give up all your rights. That's why it's important to know your rights. But if a cop says, "Give me your ID," and you're like, "I don't have to do that," and they say, "Give me your ID or I'm going to put you on the ground," you know what I'd probably do? All right, here's the ID. What's your badge number? Okay, and comply, and then fight it later. It's just a smart thing to do because you don't know where they're coming from the context. You might fit the description of somebody who's a suspect, and on and on and on. So again, common sense, public service announcement. Same thing I tell my kids is when a police officer asks you to do something, do it. It doesn't mean it's right, but you get all the information you can, observe everything you can, and then you fight it later. If it's a bad cop, which nobody hates bad cops more than good cops, and there are a lot more good cops than bad cops. But the point is, when a cop tells you to get out of your car, you get out of the car. When a cop gets behind you with their lights on, you don't keep driving because you don't want to pull over and say, "Well, I'm not speeding, so I don't have to pull over." That's not how it works. So, back to the point, people like that, with that mindset, these liberal white women that have very little experience with law enforcement, someone didn't explain to them that they do need to comply. For one, don't obstruct. For two, don't try to run them over. These are common sense things that people should know. But because of the indoctrination, the misplaced empathy, because of the mass illegal immigration, and trying to present all these illegal immigrants as a Maryland dad rather than a gang member who has been linked to human trafficking and domestic abuse, etc. They don't want you to know any of that. And so this is why we're in a situation where someone like Renee Good gets shot. That's how it happened. Blame the left. Now, you could say, well, ICE seems rather aggressive. They kind of do look aggressive. They kind of do look scary in selected clips. You see extended clips, though, and you see them trying to reason with these people ad nauseum until they have no other choice. Why are they concealing their faces? It's like they want to be a secret police. I thought we were against that. Yeah, I agree. Why are they covering their faces? Oh, because people are trying to kill them. Assassination attempt in Dallas. Ramming. People are literally ramming them with their vehicles. Assaults, doxing. It's all happened. Threats, death threats to their family. So yeah, they have to conceal their faces. because you're trying to kill them, leftists. So again, all of the problems that the radical left is complaining about are of their own making. Of their own making, whether it's the liberal leaders out there in Congress who they hate you. They just see you as cogs in the wheel and tools for their purposes, by the way. Or it's the people on the ground, these radical leftists, whether they're being paid or not. They're the reason why you're seeing escalation on the ground. That's the reason why you're seeing concealing of identity for the ICE agents themselves. It's all from the left's making. It just is. You can complain all you want. You may not like the way it's playing out, but it's your fault. It's your fault. It's primarily the Democrat leadership in Congress and former President Biden, and then the violence, etc., on the ground, and the escalation is certainly not all on the responsibility of the leadership in the Democrat Party, because people are on the ground doing it. Now, they're indoctrinated to believe that they're doing the right thing by the leadership. Tim Walz, Jacob Frey, coming out immediately right after it happened. Before there'd even been 2 angles of the video released, and they're condemning this guy. They're ratcheting up the rhetoric. Completely irresponsible for any leader to do that right after an event where details are still coming in. Indefensible. Anyway, I am way outside my intro here, all right? Just started going. But anyway, that's why we're here. We're going to show you how the events unfolded, and it's why people should leave ICE alone and let them do their job. And, there's probably a reason why Governor Tim Walz, A-Walz, No Balls Walz, whatever you want to call him, and Minneapolis effeminate Mayor Jacob Frey were so quick to come out and condemn this as, this is propaganda from the administration, and there's all these lies. This woman was murdered. Why were they so quick? There was probably a reason, and I'm going to tell you what I think it is. And bad news announced today for Somalians here with temporary protected status. Also going to talk about the Clintons, Bill and Hillary. I tell you what, we're going to tell Congress they can kiss our grits, okay? We're not going to go in there. We're not going to testify, all right? Yeah, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, they tell Congress, we're not testifying. Kick rocks. That's the same thing that got Steve Bannon. Who's Scott Bannon? Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro in jail. Will the Clintons go to jail? Boy, would that make my year, right? Just to see it happen, just to know that it's possible. Anyway, we're going to talk about that. And deadly protests in Tehran. Unfortunately, Scott Adams, creator of Dilbert, has passed away. Also going to go over some trade deficit wins. And oh, by the way, Candace Owens is getting even crazier. All of those things coming up. Keep your comments coming in the chat. I want to say thank you to Vicky in the chat on Rumble with a $20 contribution. We haven't seen a contribution in the Rumble chat in months. Thank you, Vicky, for that. It popped up, and for a minute, I didn't know what it was. I thought, what is this thing? And it's $20. Thank you. If you want to help support our mission and cover the cost that it takes to put on this program, you can do so via Cash App or Venmo at IkeReport.com, IkeReport.com, or in the chat on Rumble. In the chat on Rumble. Vicky says, that does not even surprise me about the Clintons. Yeah, it was kind of predictable, wasn't it? Brianna says, get the Somalis out of here now. By the way, we're talking about Greenland. I'm not in favor of invading Greenland. I'm in favor of a negotiation with Greenland. And, they have about 40 to 42,000 adult residents. We could give every one of them $1 million. Say we want to buy your country, make you the 51st state, whatever it is. or make you a territory, whatever it is, everybody gets $1 million. Every adult becomes a millionaire. You know how much it would cost us? $40 billion. $40 billion, which is a lot when you think about 40,000 millionaires is 40 billion. That's a lot of millions. And you hear that cost, and I don't know, lately I think that doesn't sound like that much money, but it is a whole lot of money. And when we're looking at all the fraud that's happening in Minnesota, I mean, look, we could buy Greenland for a couple of these Leering Center fraud amounts. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We save a little bit of fraud. We can buy Greenland. So anyway, just thinking about moving some money around here. Thinking about moving some money around, because of the way that kind of somebody without a name, probably a bot on YouTube, says, how about 40 billion for Americans? Well, I'm not in favor of handouts, okay, for just existing, but the citizens of Greenland would have to okay this. We'd also have to work some things out with Denmark. And so for giving up their country and consenting to our governance, they are getting compensated. Okay, so something is being exchanged. And then therefore our ownership and control of the land. So there is an exchange. It isn't just a handout. I'm just saying, if you wanted to get the majority of people on board, that's probably a way to do it. Right? I think it is. All right, so let's get into the video. This is the slowed down video of Renee Good. Okay. This is the side angle, which doesn't show you a lot because you don't see this other agent in front of the vehicle, which, by the way, this agent nearly died 6 months ago, was drugged 300 feet, requiring 30-something stitches. He knows how quickly things can change in a situation like this. And if you want to be critical, well, I think a lot of people are critical because they think he acted too quickly. But that's the problem. Most of us don't understand how quickly you have to react in a situation like this. And so to us bystanders, us civilians, we would look at it and say, oh, man, he acted too quickly. This lady was driving into him, and all it takes is a foot down on the gas. I mean, if you haven't seen any of these videos of where people are running over law enforcement and how quickly it happens, you just Google some of them. Go out on YouTube or wherever. They're out there. It can change quite quickly. But we are looking from the side view here. It's slowed down to 0.3% speed. Okay. So it's about a third of the speed of full speed, if that makes any sense. And so you can see, I'm going to look at some angles here. Take a look. Okay. They're trying to get her out of the vehicle. She backs up. Her wheels are turned to the left. Okay. You can see her wheels spin out here as she hits the gas, turning right back toward the agent. Okay. So that's slowed way down. You see the other angle where this guy is clearly in front of the vehicle when she takes off. This is the image right here on the screen. Hits him right there, and then he shoots. He shoots after he's hit. Okay, so that angle shows you that the officer was, in fact, hit by the vehicle. Let me see if I can find the actual released video from the agent himself. I thought I pinned that, but maybe I didn't. And that should help clear up some of it. Okay. So this is, all right. So just a warning on language. There's going to be several clips that have language in them today. for anybody that is concerned about that, for whoever might be watching. Okay, so there are some instances like that. There's likely some here. This is the agent himself. Okay, and we'll show you in a minute that, you know, the mainstream media tried to tell us that she was just on her way home and got stuck and then got shot. That is a flat out lie. We're going to show you video where she's hanging out, video from someone's house, hanging out for several minutes in the road, right in the middle of the road, blocking it, honking like crazy, and then dancing to her honks. Okay, she is not who they presented her as. Okay, I don't want to see her shot, but she walked right into it, made bad decisions. Anyway, here's the view from the agent. That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Okay. Seems like a pleasant person, but you could also say a bit arrogant, that you are in the middle of disrupting a law enforcement operation for the sake of illegal immigrants. You're wreaking havoc, you're obstructing, you're impeding, and you're just going to act like, oh, hey, it's all good, no big deal. I'm just a freaking insurrectionist. I'm a terrorist. Don't worry about it.
That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking country.
Okay, just a real pleasant gal, handsome gal there, the lover of Renee Good. People keeps calling her the wife. Which, by the way, I'm not even going to go into it, but no one's been able to produce any sort of marriage license, by the way. So I will be referring to her as her partner, and she's an aggressive, nasty lady. Nasty.
You want to come at us? I said,
Just talking crap.
go get yourself some lunch, big boy.
Go get yourself some lunch. You want to come at us? Just totally disrespectful. Whose side is she on? Is she pro-America?
Go ahead.
Not in the slightest.
Out of the car.
They keep telling her, get out of the car.
Get out of the fucking car.
Okay, what does the partner say? She tells her to drive, baby, drive.
Out of the car.
All right, so the guy gets hit by the vehicle and shoots. That's what happened. It happened very fast, very tragic, but it's completely avoidable.
Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car.
Okay, just a tragedy. I think she should be investigated. Some people have been trying to get her investigated, and the 3 people in Minnesota resigned today because they were asked to investigate the partner. How ridiculous is that? And then here's a moron. She doesn't have to listen to ICE. Yes, she does. She does have to listen to ICE if she is impeding and obstructing an operation. Again, this is the type of dumb propaganda that so many ignorant people are either falling for or just regurgitating. I don't know if they actually believe it, but it is absolutely not true. You had an eyewitness here saying that Renee Good was the leader of this little riot in the middle of this neighborhood, blocking traffic, obstructing, and targeting ICE.
There, because she was the main car leading the protest.
She was the main car leading the protest. Wait a minute, I thought it was just a mother who dropped off her kids or child and got stuck in the snow. That's what they told us.
Is my understanding. I talked to another guy who was driving behind her, but she was very she was very successful in blocking traffic. She was doing what she was set out to do, and so they wanted to get her the hell out of there. Yeah.
So it looked like she was impeding ICE vehicles.
Definitely, yeah.
They wanted to get her out of there. She was the leader of this freaking gang of Karens, and they needed to get her out of there. Look, I didn't want her to die. I don't want her to die. I don't want anyone to die this way, but stop doing stupid things and winning stupid prizes. I'm sorry. It's so predictable. Do not do this and expect it to end well. This woman was ordered out of her car. She refused. She backed up. She drove forward into an ICE agent. An agent pulls out a gun only when she starts moving forward into his body. And by the way, law enforcement has the ability to use deadly force when they encounter the threat of death or also bodily harm. Even if you can hurt a cop, they can use deadly force. That's the way it's set up to be able to protect them, because you have no idea the kind of things they encounter on a daily basis. We can be critical of a cop making a bad decision, a split moment. It's not really fair, but it doesn't mean there are no bad decisions ever made. No, but more often than not, a very good decision is made in a very split decision, a very split moment because of their training, and we never hear a word about it. And they encounter this day after day after day after day. You know, these people are people too. They want to get home to their families. Again, this very agent was drugged 300 feet by an illegal immigrant when he tried to apprehend. Okay? So we see clearly what happened here. This agent was hit. Okay? And if you want to see the wheels spinning again, it wasn't until she started driving toward him that he even took out his firearm. You see him, you see the wheels spin right here, going forward, turning the wheel. He doesn't even have his firearm out yet. He takes it out once she's headed right toward it, because if she slams the gas on, dude is toast. He's dead. He's gone. Does she stop after they keep telling her to stop? No, she keeps going forward, and hits him. She's driving right towards him. So I don't know, you know, in a perfect world, knowing everything in hindsight, you could say, okay, the guy didn't have to shoot her. You have to make decisions with the information you have in the moment. That's all you've got. So we can play Monday morning quarterback, armchair quarterback. We can critique this all day long, but you don't know what's going to happen after that. What's interesting here as we go back to this lover of hers, this partner, she was outside the vehicle filming. She ran back to the vehicle after this woman was shot. I guess she just laid on the gas and ran into another vehicle, telling some nearby guy, "That's my wife." When he asks if she knows any of her wife's relatives she could call, she says, "We're new here. I don't have people. I can't even breathe right now." Apparently they're new. Just find it really strange. You move somewhere and then they immediately get embedded with this ICE activist group. So it's like, were they recruited to Minneapolis? What happened here? This seems really odd.
Get the fuck out of our neighborhood.
Okay, like I said, a lot of language here. Okay, and then later, this is the vehicle here that's crashed into the vehicle. This is Renee Good's vehicle that this man is filming.
Did you call any of your people yet?
We're new here. I don't have.
So you don't got none of her family members or anybody number? Do you know anybody on her Facebook? All right.
So she doesn't know anybody, and maybe she's in shock and just can't think clearly. That's certainly a possibility. But it's really odd. Here's another line that we hear from this lover, this partner, asking the agent, why did you have real bullets?
Why did you have real bullets? She was scared.
She then says, it's my fault. I made her come down here. It's my fault. Why did you have real bullets? What the heck do you think are in these guns, woman? Of course they're real bullets. This is not a game. This is not Grand Theft Auto. This is not the ICE edition of Fortnite. This is real. And what you're doing is dangerous and it's illegal. And you were given so many chances to prevent this tragedy. But of course they're real bullets. I mean, it's ridiculous how stupid this is. Ridiculous. And South Park actually gets it right, I'm afraid to say.
You should get in your car and drive at them. What are they gonna do? You're a white lesbian. Seriously. Are you sure that's a good idea? Of course it's a good idea, you stupid bitch. Now get in your car, don't listen to any of their directions, and try to run them over.
Okay, so Cartman is talking this woman into going after ICE. What are they going to do? They're going to shoot you? You are a white lesbian. What are they going to do?
Stop the fucking car! She's coming right for us! Oh my god! She did it! She actually did it! What a retard! I told you guys they're all retards! Yeah.
Okay, so obviously South Park is crass and irreverent, but pretty dadgum accurate in this situation. Like, how stupid can you be to think that you are a match for law enforcement and you are so special and so skilled and so important that you can impede a federal operation dictated by federal law? Who do you think you are? And the only explanation that seems logical is you must be stupid if you think that this is a good idea. Why did you use real bullets? Are you serious? This isn't Fisher Price. It's real life. And I don't know if the people that train Renee Good on ICE agitation or protesting or whatever they call it told them that they only use rubber bullets, but if that's the case, they lied. What I find interesting is the picture they keep using of Renee Good is a woman who has long hair and looks like your everyday mom. But in reality, she is someone who looks quite radicalized. But everywhere you see this picture of her that's completely old, not the real picture, which is this. This is what she looked like. Okay? She had the toboggan on or whatever, the hat. Why am I saying this? Because it was intentional to make her look as normal as possible so people would relate and say, oh my gosh, I could get shot by ICE. Rather than, no, this was kind of a, out there person, radicalized, had a buzz cut as a woman, and not quite as relatable to most people. Is it? No, it's not. doesn't go with the narrative that we're trying to present to make it ICE's fault and that ICE is just shooting moms in the streets that look like you and your girlfriends. Pretty interesting that they used a much older photo that's much more palpable to a stupid audience, to a bunch of gullible nuts. It's intentional, my friends. This is what happens. It's manipulation. Do not eat all of it up and act like it is just the gospel. It's not. But further, Nicole Good was an ICE watch warrior. She trained to resist the feds before the shooting. She wasn't just some everyday mom that just wandered down the wrong street in her Honda Pilot and got stuck and didn't understand and was trying to get out of there. Bullcrap. None of that happened. She was part of a group of activists who worked to document and resist the federal immigration crackdown in Minnesota, according to the New York Post. She moved to the city last year, got hooked up with anti-ICE activists real quick. That's odd, isn't it? That's not something you typically encounter when you move somewhere. Oh, cool. A coupon book came in the mail, all the places that we can spend our money, and oh, and there's an invitation from the anti-ICE warrior group. Or, I don't know, maybe it was at the grocery store. She's at Whole Foods buying some organic kale. Someone walks around. Oh, hey, what does that badge mean? Kill ICE. Oh, really? I would like to join your group. I mean, this is not something that typically happens. So how did she find him? Apparently, she had her child in a very liberal, progressive, whack job school, and maybe that's where she got hooked up with the rest of the Looney Tunes. She was trained. She was a warrior. An ICE protest warrior, okay? People say she died doing what she wanted to do. I start to wonder, maybe this was suicide by ICE, because it certainly looks suspicious. This woman trained. This woman was radicalized. This woman was being pressured by her more handsome-looking lover. And she said, finally, I'm just going to put it all out there and go for it. And whatever happens, happens. I don't know. I mean, someone in this mindset has to be delusional. And so maybe her attachment to safety, what makes sense, what is logical, what is reasonable was not there. I mean, my gosh, this is no place for a mother to be after dropping off their child, is to go, let's go get right in the middle of chaos and start stirring it up. Let's lead a pack of people to fight against federal law enforcement. Are you nuts? You would have to be nuts or stupid. Doesn't make any sense. I love it when people try to tell me I need to get a better tie. Get out of here, you weirdo. Don't critique what I'm wearing. My tie is perfect. Whether it's straight or not, I don't know. I don't care. I only wear this to make you believe I'm credible, and then you get sucked in and you have to listen to what I'm saying, and maybe for the first time in your life, you heard some truth. So congratulations, you fell for it. You're really into ties, apparently. Now this, okay, as we keep going here, this whole ideology of these liberal white women, I don't know, again, are they searching for relevance? Are they so hopped up on antidepressants? Are they watching The View and all these other liberal propaganda shows that they hate themselves? I don't know. But a reporter encountered just one such lady on the street after this incident. Listen to this. It's worth the wait.
I mean, I'm just walking around kind of just dazed-eyed because I was like, I don't know if it's the right thing to do. It feels kind of wrong being here in some way. I don't know why.
And why do you think, yeah.
I don't know.
It feels wrong just being here in some way. She's crying already.
I don't know, like, where that stems from. Like, I mean, part of it is being like a white woman that I'm privileged and I have a lot of privilege.
I'm a white woman. I have privilege. I shouldn't be here on a public street. I shouldn't be here because I'm a white lady with privilege. See what I'm saying? These people don't need to be allowed to vote. I'm just telling you. They need to be in mental institutions until they understand they had nothing to do with the race, the color of skin that they were born with. Nothing. But she feels bad about just even standing on the sidewalk, being anywhere near there because she's a white woman with privilege.
So I feel like white tears are not always something that's helpful or necessary.
White tears are not something that's helpful or necessary. White tears. I got news for you, sis. Everyone's tears are the same color. Golly, are you serious, Clark? Put that on a bumper sticker. All tears are the same color. I mean, unless you got an infection or something, you're going to have the same. No one's going to be able to distinguish whether there's white tears on the ground or some other underprivileged tears. I mean, this is just insane. Are you serious? I mean, this is insane. Let's see. R. Tackett says, if Renee was a warrior, she wasn't very good at it. Yeah, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Not enough training. Yeah, they missed the day of training where when ICE tells you to get out of the car, you get out of the car. You don't put the foot on the gas. I don't know if I can find this comment all the way up here, but I'm looking over on Rumble, so I'm not going to show it on the screen. But Bree says, if these people want to exercise their rights, I'm totally okay with it, but they need to do it in a peaceful way. Absolutely. It is a constitutional right to peacefully protest. She goes on to say it's getting out of hand and ridiculous, putting innocent people in harm's way. Exactly right. Maybe some white privilege tears will help.
When black and brown people have been experiencing this
Yeah.
for a long time. This isn't new for them. And so I don't know if that makes any sense in that way.
I can't express any tears because this is the first white person ever killed by law enforcement. So therefore, it's not enough.
How did you decide that you should be here? Or are you still figuring that out?
Well, I work like 2 miles from here. So
Probably in a privileged white area, I bet.
driving by, I don't, it was like, I'm here. I'm 2 miles. I can stop.
Okay. So, oh my gosh. I mean, that is one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. It's also quite sad because, I mean, literally, this is the mindset. All right. So right after this happened, the liberal media and people in Congress got their marching orders. The official language is legal observer. Legal observer. That's who Renee Good was. She was a legal observer. She wasn't observing. She was acting. There's a big difference. But Nadler and Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs and CAIR National and Ed Krasenstein and Congress Ilhan Omar. Legal Observer. That's what's in the highlights. I don't know if you can see that on your screen, but they all posted something. And minutes later, after all this happened, Legal Observer, that's the buzz phrase. That's what we're going with. That did not catch on very well because it was clear pretty quickly that she was no observer. She was a participant in active obstruction. Moments. I mean, I'm talking less than an hour, I believe. Close to, we'll just say around an hour. Jacob Frey, the effeminate mayor of Minneapolis, a huge placater to the Somalians. You seen the video of him trying the Somalian food, pretending to like it? Just takes a big bite. Yeah, that's delicious. You want more? No, I'm stuffed. While he stirs it around, trying to pretend that it's great. He was quick to go out in public, hold a press conference as the mayor. Did he de-escalate things? Did he calm the temperature down or cool the temperature off and calm people down? No, he did not. He escalated it and made it much worse. Language warning here. It's kind of odd that you would have to provide a language warning for a freaking mayor's press conference.
To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite.
Okay, wow. Seems like a nice guy, right? Yeah, just made it much worse. Tim Walz came out, made it much worse, said that the administration was just, well, why don't we ask Tim Walz himself? By the way, this dude is looking a little frail today, isn't he? Isn't old Timmy looking a little frail, maybe a little stressed? Timmy, what's the problem? What's the problem, Timmy? I mean, you are not running for re-election to governor. You dropped out amid the horrendous, hellacious, monumental scam of fraud that happened under your watch. Looks like he's pretty stressed right now. Pretty stressed. Anyway, here's what he had to say, again, just a couple hours after this event.
And I don't quite know how to respond to the question other than my primary responsibility as governor is the protection of the people of Minnesota. And you can be assured, whether it's the State Patrol or whether it's the National Guard, their deployment is there to protect Minnesotans from whatever it is. If it's an act of nature, if it's a global pandemic, or in this case, if it is a rogue federal agent. I don't know at this time, and I want to be very careful.
A rogue federal agent. I mean, that's not even one of the worst clips of Tim Walz. We actually showed him in a pretty, okay light, but he said there he is preparing to use the Minnesota National Guard to protect Minnesotans from rogue ICE agents. He wants a war with the government, federal government. This is ludicrous. It's insanity. It's insane. But again, this is the same place that gaslit the entire community into burning Minneapolis down after the George Floyd incident. Is it no wonder that they're trying to do the same? And I wonder why. Do you wonder why they're trying to do this right now? We'll get to that in a moment. But let's continue on this same thread of how they're labeling ICE as Nazis, the Gestapo. Jasmine Crockett called these detention centers slave camps. I mean, this rhetoric continues of labeling ICE as this horrible organization. And it's no wonder there's been rammings and assassination attempts and assaults and shootings, etc. Because the labeling that is coming out from the left is dangerous. Whoopi Goldberg calls ICE agents criminals and then has to backtrack. This was earlier today when I appeared on Newsmax. Take a look.
Criminals seem to be in the agency.
The View's Whoopi Goldberg calling ICE violent criminals during the first segment on the show, appearing to address President Trump. But then after the break, the co-host walks back her comments, clarifying she was concerned about accountability, saying she was not accusing ICE agents of being criminals.
Before folks gather around and say, oh, she's accusing all of the folks at ICE of being criminals, that is not what I'm doing. And just so I'm clear, it feels sometimes that there is no one watching the hen house. Okay, so before y'all start blowing it into all kinds of other stuff.
It's kind of funny she said a hen house, because that's exactly what I think of the View as, a bunch of hens just squawking and pecking and pooping everywhere.
Just know that it's nuance speaking.
Ike Wingate.
Nuance? Really? That's the new liberal word for lie, is nuance.
Is the host of the Ike Wingate Show. Ashwani Jain is a Democrat strategist, and John Tobacco, host of Wise Guys. Ike, I'll start with you. Thank you all for coming on. Whoopi Goldberg makes this comment, then she comes back and she says, before you guys try to make this something else, then it's not. But it actually was what it was.
Exactly. She said it, we heard it, and now we're supposed to believe that it never happened. It kind of reminds me of when Brian Williams got in trouble, you know, the NBC anchor who said he misremembered when he was caught in a lie. We heard what you said. We saw what happened. Legal probably got in her ear during the break, and she had to walk it back. But these are the dangerous comments that have been happening on the left, and it's time for these this dangerous rhetoric to stop, because people are getting killed. People are being activated to go out in the middle of the day after they drop off their kids and block an ICE operation. And again, literally, people are getting killed. The rhetoric needs to be toned down. Okay. So you see it again and again and again, vilifying these ICE agents for simply doing their job. By the way, if you want to get mad about ICE, then you need to take a time machine back to when Obama, who was nicknamed the deporter-in-chief, mind you, and get mad and protest then too, because he deported far more people in a year than Trump has with ICE specifically. Now, because of the self-deportations and other avenues, Trump has deported in the first year, by some estimates, 2 million people or more. But as far as organic ICE agent deportations, apprehensions, and deportations, Obama was, I'm the king. Got ICE agents going over there. Get over there. I'm smoking a cigarette. Deport those people. Get them out of here. I mean, he was the top guy. Now, Trump's going to likely overtake that, but it's been unmatched and unprecedented, and nobody said a damn word about it. You understand what I'm saying? Selective outrage. It's only because Trump's doing it that this is happening. And the people go, no, it's because ICE is being so much meaner now. Really? ICE is just doing what they've been trained to do. And if you wouldn't get in a car and block traffic and spit on these people and try to run them over and try to hit them and try to take their guns, you would never even know it's happening. And that's why you didn't hear anything about it before, because the left wasn't going berserk when Obama was doing it. Completely hypocritical, complete double standard, and you're exposed. So if you're going to go protest these ICE deportations, then you need to also have a sign out that says, how dare you, Obama, or something directed at Obama, if you're going to be consistent. But that's the thing. These people don't know anything. They have no concept of numbers and data and facts and history. History evades them. But because Trump is doing it, oh, it's horrible. The Gestapo. These are Nazis. It's so obvious. It's so obvious. It's so clear. It's so easy to pick out. Now, you might be wondering, as I've been, why did Jacob Frey and Tim Walz come out so quickly and try to escalate this thing and sort of use it to their political advantage, sort of escalate things and make it far worse than it needed to be until some facts came out and an investigation unfolded in the way that normally things are done. But then you just have to remember, one of the biggest fraud scams has been uncovered layer by layer by layer by layer in Minnesota. And then that brings into focus why Tim Walz and Jacob Frey would be trying to distract you with this shiny thing over here. A big injustice. That's what we need to be looking at. No, the injustice is the fraud that you oversaw, and investigations are now looking into it. Who knows how far-reaching it is? Scott Bessent said that Keith Ellison, the Attorney General, was on tapes literally helping these people commit fraud. And it's pretty interesting how many of these politicians received political contributions from these very organizations that were committing the fraud. I mean, why would a daycare center be making millions of dollars in donations to a political candidate? Makes you wonder, right? This is the distraction, my friends. This is why the leadership there came out so quickly. I present to you Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, who has directed the DOJ to look into this entire debacle.
Robbins, based on your record before your committee, when did Governor Walz first become aware of widespread fraud in Minnesota social service programs?
I would assume that he has been aware of it since he ran for office for governor in 2018.
By 2017, DHS investigators warned CCAP fraud could exceed 50%. What was that information elevated to the governor's office?
Yes, there was an OLA report.
Thank you, ma'am. By 2020, state officials knew feeding our future invoices were fraudulent. We know that payments continued to the AG's knowledge. Did they continue to the governor's knowledge as well?
Yes.
Attorney General Ellison agreed on tape to fight Minnesota's own Department of Human and Health Services in exchange for Somali political and financial support. In your personal opinion, do you believe it is a possibility that Governor Walz also made that personal deal, or that he at least knew about the Attorney General's agreement?
I don't know.
Okay. I don't want to rehash what you guys have spent hours answering. We know that.
So basically, Keith Ellison and Tim Walz knew about the fraud, allowed it to continue at the very least, but it's much deeper than that. Much deeper than that.
There's a big issue with the fraud in Minnesota. So on a number of things, I'd first like to point out, thank you for being here today, but because of your testimony and because of some of the evidence that we've seen brought forward, as well as I'm sure the fact that this committee, I assume, at Chairman Comer's direction, will be soon subpoenaing AG Ellison, I would like to make criminal referrals regarding Governor Walz as well as AG Ellison. As you know, U.S. Code 371 and U.S. Code 2, which deals with criminalized conspiracies to defraud the United States and establishes liability for individuals who knowingly aid or abet the commission of federal offense, includes willful blindness or deliberate inaction where duties to act exist. So I will be referring them later on today.
All right. So they've been referred up the ladder, my friends, to a congressional investigation. Maybe that's why Tim Walz looks so dadgum skinny. Maybe that's why. You think that has anything to do with it? I can't eat. I'm so stressed. About to get found out. Yep. By the way, how terrible at vetting was the Kamala Harris campaign? They picked this dude as the running mate. And I mean, he's got so many skeletons in his closet. I mean, he might be the worst VP pick in history with the amount of skeletons he has, with all the stolen valor and the weird connections he has to shady people, the multiple 30-something trips to China in like 25 years. And then a whole buttload of fraud, and that's a technical term, buttload of fraud that he presided over and may be directly implicated in. Could there have been a worse VP pick? I'm not sure. Unless she picked someone like Jeffrey Epstein or something to be her running mate. I don't know that there is a worse person that could have been picked, at least in politics, to be the VP. But how do you miss all this? How do you miss all this? The reason why is because, one, Kamala Harris was the leader of her campaign. She's incompetent, so her people are incompetent. 2, 3, whatever the point is, she wanted so bad to have a yes man that she turned down people that were competent because they said, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to have leadership over? I mean, that was Josh Shapiro's question. No, she wanted someone who just would bark when she said bark and jump, when she said jump. And that's exactly the kind of dog that Tim Walz is. And that's why it happened. But how terrible would that have been for our country to know that this freaking criminal was could have been in the White House? Oh, there was a really great comment up here a minute ago. Oh, here you go. This is from EAG, if I'm reading it correctly. It says, great stream. The libtard tears here are so tasty. A lot of craziness happens in the chat on YouTube. A lot of angry people who wish they had their binky. Okay, that's what they wish. Bree over on Rumble said Jacob Frey was crying like a baby. Yeah. Vicky says Whoopi backtracks a lot. Right? Okay, so bad news for Somalians as we're on this sort of fraud kick here. Somali migrants with temporary protected status will now be required to leave the country by March 17th. There's too much risk. There's too much fraud, and there's too much taking advantage of that's happening. And so unless they're completely solid vetted citizens, they're just going to have to go home. And Minnesota, help is on the way. Help is on the way. President Trump truthed out. Do the people of Minnesota really want to live in a community in which there are thousands of already convicted murderers, drug dealers, addicts, rapists, violent release and escaped prisoners, dangerous people from foreign mental institutions and insane asylums, and other deadly criminals too dangerous to even mention? All the patriots of ICE want to do is remove them from your neighborhood. They want to do you a favor and get them out. Send them back to the prisons and mental institutions from where they came, most in foreign countries, who illegally entered the USA through Sleepy Joe Biden's horrible open border policy, okay? Every place we go, crime comes down, the president says. In Chicago, despite a weak and incompetent governor and mayor fighting us all the way, a big improvement was made. Thousands of criminals were removed. Minnesota Democrats love the unrest that anarchists and professional agitators are causing because it gets the spotlight off of, ding, 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 the $19 billion. $19 billion, okay? It was stolen. It was really bad. They were deranged people, all right? President says, fear not, great people of Minnesota. The day of reckoning and retribution is coming. Let me tell you, end quote. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, says they are laying the bear trap. That's the word he used, the bear trap. He actually contrasted. He said, I was in agreement with Elon, even though they personally they didn't quite agree. He said, I was in agreement with the fact that we had to cut this waste and fraud and abuse and prosecute it. I just wanted to move methodically to make sure that we had all our T's crossed, I's dotted, so we could put these people away. He said the Silicon Valley mentality that Elon comes from is move fast and break things. He would rather, Scott Bessent, move deliberately and fix things, is what he said. So they're in agreement on this. Bessent is saying it is going to happen, and they're going to roll up a lot of people in this. And obviously the president says the same thing. But again, we go back to all ICE is trying to do is get the bad guys out. And people say, oh, well, no, good people are getting taken. Look, 70% of all the apprehensions are these criminals. The other 30% are hanging out in the same places where the criminals are. Now, they might be in an employment place, a place of work, and ICE comes in and then they get rolled up. I'm sorry, that's part of it. It's collateral damage. I'm sorry. But the focus is on these violent criminals. In fact, ICE provided Fox News a list of the most egregious criminal aliens they've arrested during the surge in the sanctuary state of Minnesota. Disturbing as heck. Convicted child rapists and sodomizers and 10 convicted killers, most with deportation orders going back many years, several from Laos, Somalia, and Sudan. These are the winners right here. These guys. Yeah. You know what? Why don't you let them come live with you? You don't want ICE in your city? Let these people live with you. You vouch for them. Whatever they do, you are responsible for. But let me tell you, these monsters, they harmed children. Let me tell you, couple things I'll read to you here. Might have to get your dictionary out on some of them. One guy named Serodorn Faven, a Laotian illegal alien convicted of strong-arm sodomy of a boy and strong-arm sodomy of a girl. He's had a deportation order since 2018. Another one, Tao Vang, a Laotian illegal alien convicted of sexual assault and sodomy of a girl under 13 and procuring a child for prostitution. This freaking loser's had a deportation order since 2006. Okay, the left doesn't want to hear this. Oh no, ICE is so terrible. They're getting these animals out of your community, despite the fact that you're fighting them the entire way. You want another one? How about Chong View, a Laotian illegal alien convicted of the strong-arm rape of a 12-year-old girl and kidnapping a child with intent to sexually assault her, who's had a deportation order since 2004. Next contestant, Ji Yang, a Laotian illegal alien convicted of strong-arm rape, aggravated assault with a weapon, and strangulation. Deportation order since 2012. Another here convicted of rape and child fondling. Rape with a weapon and sexual assault. Another one here, sexual assault of a child and a DUI. Had a deportation order for 9 years. One guy from Somalia convicted of homicide, just roaming around, freaking murderer. One dude convicted of 3 counts of homicide. How about that? You want that person living next to you? Fight ICE. Get them out of here. They're so mean. They're freaking Nazis. How dare you take these child rapists and murderers out of my city? I mean, who is the righteous one here? Who's on the side of good? No pun intended, but good, Renee Good, was not on the good side. She was fighting for freaking horrible criminals that harmed children and did something called strong-arm rape and sodomy. What the heck? I don't want to know. And on and on and on. You look at this list. These freaking weirdo losers who come from countries that have no semblance, no concept, no standard of dignity and virtue and consideration and proper behavior. They're savages. They have to be if they would do this to a kid. ICE is getting him out. The left is fighting against this. This makes no sense. Keep defending it. Keep defending child rapists. See how that works for you. The funny thing is that some of these Democrats are now floating out this phrase, abolish ICE. Okay? Abolish ICE, like abolish the police. You remember that? It's not going to end well. The abolish the police, boy, was that a mistake. It's the gift that keeps on giving and coming back and haunting Democrats to this day. Abolish ICE would be even worse. And that's why you have Democrat insiders, consultants saying, no, don't you dare go in that direction. Because guess what? Most Americans want these freaks out of our country. And ICE is the one organization that's brave enough to do it, even though they are getting kicked, spat upon, doxxed, attempted assassinations, total brutality against them while they try to do their job. And most Americans want them to do it. There's just a few in the minority and a lot that are paid that are out there protesting for insanity. But let's bring it back to reality. What they're doing is they're advocating, by extension, for these heinous criminals, these child rapists, these murderers to stay in the country. If you don't want them here, then let ICE do their job. Otherwise, you're in the same group as these winners. Stand down. Let them do their job. Don't make a bad decision. Let them uphold the law. If you don't like it, go to Congress to change the law or get out of this country. But there is nothing patriotic or right about impeding and obstructing and creating a much more dangerous situation so you can keep these rapists in the country. There's nothing defensible about that. Peaceful protest, fine. But there is nothing noble or righteous, pure or patriotic about what these people are doing against ICE. Leave ICE alone. We'll be back right after this to talk about the Clintons. Stay where you are.
Oh, hey. Didn't see you there. Well, just hanging out on the farm here. You know, one thing I was thinking about this morning is, when's the next crisis going to hit? It's not really a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And we really can't rely on the government to take care of a shortage or something like that. We just got to take care of ourselves. You remember back in COVID, you tried to go to the store and everything was gone? Well, you can't risk that kind of thing. That's why I suggest My Patriot Supply. You can go to preparewithike.com and get your 4-week emergency food kit. Save $50 when you use my URL. Again, it is preparewithike.com. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And the question is, when it does happen, will your family eat? Make sure there's no question about it. Take action now. Save $50, 4-week emergency food kit, preparewithike.com. Fourscore and 7 years ago, there used to be men in this country. Now this country's full of a bunch of weenie men. You think about all the stuff that's in the water, plastics, microplastics, there's estrogen everywhere. In fact, compared to 100 years ago, men have half the testosterone that they used to. Look, it's not like getting shot in the back of the head. All you need to do is take chalk once every day, and you can boost your testosterone for fun things that require your energy, like working out or playing sports or actually spending time with your kids. I wish I could do that, but I can't because I'm dead. But if I were alive, I would take chalk. The Patriots said chalk combine the most powerful herbal extracts, so it's all natural, giving you that lift that you need. George, come spot me.
Well, Abe, if I too were alive, I'd gladly spot you.
It's time to boost your testosterone to levels not seen since 1776 or 1860 or 1864, whatever. But it's herbal. It's natural. It's made in the USA. It's been clinically studied to boost testosterone. We're talking about chalk, okay? Stop being all weird with this trends and everything else. We didn't have that back in my day. We had real men. It's time to get boosted back to those levels when men were men and women were women and there wasn't anything in between. Right, Mary?
Yes, Lincoln.
That's right. Get chalk. IceWingate.com. Get chalk. If you want to be like me, get chalk. Except for the dead part. Okay. IceWingate.com.
Hey there! Tired of watching your subscription costs climb higher and higher? With Q Broadcast, you get more for less. All your favorite channels and content bundled into one unbeatable package. No contracts, no hidden fees, just simple, affordable streaming. Say goodbye to overpriced services and hello to a new era of entertainment. This is streaming the way it should be. Q Broadcast, this changes everything.
You can sign up for Q Streaming today at IkeWingate.com. Just click Get Q Streaming to start streaming tons of channels, video on demand, even pay-per-view, all for the same price. It's all included. This is a Christian conservative-owned company that does not hate your values. Stop giving money to the cabal of big tech. Support companies that support your values. Right now at IkeWingate.com, just click Get Q Streaming.
He's exposing evil one lie at a time. Now back to the Ike Wingate Show.
All right, welcome back in. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you watching the show today. If you want to help us out by helping us to cover our costs, Cash App or Venmo right now at IkeReport.com, $5, $10, $20. Want to say thanks to Vicky over in the Rumble chat for giving $20. Thank you, Vicky. You can, of course, do that just like Vicky, or you can contribute directly via Cash App or Venmo at IkeReport.com. We have the unique links set up there, IkeReport.com. There is going to be a big announcement very, very soon right here on this show, and I will make it live and tell you first. But that's not today. So keep coming back for the show. If you want to make sure you don't miss it, follow me on X and make sure your notifications are on so it'll let you know when I go live. You can do the same thing on Rumble, but let me tell you, I'm going to be pushing a lot of my stuff to X and Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, X and Instagram is where I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff here in the future. And so make sure you are following me there. I don't know for sure what my strategy is on some of the other platforms yet, but for now, that's all I'm going to say. Follow me on X and on Instagram. My X is Ike Wingate. It's on the bottom of your screen at Ike Wingate on X. Follow me there. Set your notifications on so when I go live, it'll tell you. And that way you don't miss it when we make the big announcement. And, of course, follow me on Instagram because, of course, that's a place where you can share pictures and videos. And I want to, my hope is, I'm not going to make a, ironclad commitment here, but my intent is to start sharing some more, not just clips of the show or my appearances, but some more behind the scenes type stuff there that you really won't get on X. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. So make sure you're following me on both of those. You can find all of my social handles at my website, IkeReport.com, IKE IkeReport.com, IkeReport.com. All right. So this next story is Bill and Hillary. Bill and Hillary Clinton, they both put out the same exact tweet. This is not about right or left. It's about right and wrong. Interesting that the Clintons would lecture us on what's right and wrong, being as they are not the pillars of ethics, or at least not known to be. But basically, this letter says, we're not gonna testify before Congress, even though we've been subpoenaed to do so. We're not gonna do it. Okay. So, they could be held in contempt of Congress. Truth be told, trying to see if I can read this. Excuse me. This past year, you want me to do the Bill Clinton voice? I tell you what, I want to take a moment here, Chairman Comer, to address you directly. All right. That's the wrong. Sorry. This past year, seen government engage in unprecedented acts. Not those kind of acts, including against our own citizens. It's okay. People, I'm starting to meld Trump and Clinton. Wouldn't that be weird? Wouldn't it be weird if Don Jr. and Chelsea Clinton had a baby or something? People been seized. People have been seized by mass federal agents from their homes, their workplaces, and their streets and their communities. Anyway, just a bunch of bull crap. Basically, because ICE is operating, we're not going to, we're not going to testify on this about Epstein. We're not going to answer questions about Epstein's files and all that. Okay, because of ICE. Really, is that what they're doing here? Interesting. Well, James Comer doesn't like this. Will they take it all the way to a place of contempt? I don't know. I was thinking a bit about this strategically, and it could backfire on them. I mean, people know the Clintons, yet he's still accepted in circles, and Hillary to a lesser extent, I guess. But if they went after the Clintons and sort of made them a martyr like the left did with Trump, would it have that kind of effect? I don't know. Anyway, let's listen to what Congressman Comer has to say.
I think everyone knows by now Bill Clinton did not show up. And I think it's important to note that this subpoena was voted on in a bipartisan manner by this committee. This wasn't something that I just issued as chairman of the committee. This was voted on by the entire committee in a unanimous vote of the House Oversight Committee to subpoena former President Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Now, Hillary Clinton's supposed to show up tomorrow. We'll see what happens there. But with respect to the former president, he did not show up today. One reason I think most Americans want President Clinton to answer some questions is because he visited the White House. Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House 17 times while Bill Clinton was president. I've been in Congress 9 years. I think I've been to the White House 9 times in 9 years. Epstein was in the White House double the amount of time that I was under one president. And then we know that Bill Clinton flew on Epstein's plane somewhere around 27 times after the presidency. So no one's accusing Bill Clinton of any wrongdoing. We just have questions. And that's why the Democrats voted along with Republicans to subpoena Bill Clinton. Not a single Democrat showed up today. Not a single Democrat. The ones that have press conferences on the Capitol steps and talk about how they're trying to get justice for the victims and all that. It just seems like they only care about questioning Republicans. And we've had a former Trump cabinet secretary, Acosta, in for a grilling. We had Bill Barr, former attorney general, in for a grilling. But for whatever reason, President Clinton didn't show up, and the Democrats on the committee don't seem to have a problem.
What do you think the reason Bill Clinton didn't show up? Was he worried about the questions they were going to ask him, or was he worried about having to testify in front of Hillary? I don't want I don't want to be in the same room as her when I'm answering these questions. This woman's liable to kill me, okay? I don't want to. She's pretty good at making it look like I had a heart attack or a car crash or something like that. I can't risk it. I mean, you think? I don't know.
This is the amount of preparation that went into this deposition today. These were the questions that we were prepared to ask. We've communicated with President Clinton's legal team for months now, giving them opportunity after opportunity to come in, to give us a date, and they continue to delay to the point where we had no idea whether they're going to show up today or not. I think it's very disappointing. As a result of Bill Clinton not showing up for his lawful subpoena, which again was voted on unanimously by the committee in a bipartisan manner, we will move next week in the House Oversight Committee markup to hold former President Clinton in contempt of Congress.
What? I'm sorry. I was saying contempt of court. Contempt of Congress. Contempt of Congress. They're going to vote on it. Again, I don't know. Will it backfire into a martyr situation? I don't know. But as you heard, the committee voted unanimously, have all these people come down and talk to us, and the Clintons were the only ones that didn't show up. Kind of interesting. I didn't think they would show up, you know. I'd actually be more surprised if they did. I mean, think about it. Bill Clinton, I mean, he committed perjury. He lied on the stand. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Not a single time. Not true. So he's like, I got out of it once. I don't want to risk it again. So we will we'll stay tuned to that one. Iran, getting nasty over there. In fact, the State Department yesterday said anybody from the United States, get out. Don't rely on the United States either. Do it now. Don't wait. Canada today came out and said the same thing. They're protesting there. They are protesting the Ayatollah. The Ayatollah has wrecked this country, and they're tired of it. You could say, I don't know, the bombing of the nuclear sites and some of the other targeted attacks a few months back. Gosh, I mean, I was back in... When was that? August? I don't know. Anyway, whenever it happened, it sort of sparked, I would say, a little bit of revolution there in Iran, right? Now it's really gone crazy, and, you know, they've made it illegal to protest in the streets. They're shooting people. Some estimates up to 20,000 people have been killed who were protesting. And President Trump said, you know, that he had a meeting scheduled with Iran to say, hey, you know, you got to quit doing this. We're going to fight back. They've, you know, the government there cut off the regime, the Islamic regime there, cut off the internet. They don't want any information getting out of there. That sounds like a real upstanding organization and administration, right? And President Trump and the administration here is quite aware of what's going on and saying, you better stop. You better stop. President Trump putting out this Truth Social: Iranian patriots keep protesting, take over your institutions, and save the names of the killers and abusers because they will pay a big price. He said he canceled all meetings with Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. All caps, help is on the way. MEGA. Careful. MEGA. That is Make Iran Great Again. President Donald J. Trump. And let me tell you, it is violent there. Here's 6 minutes of people getting shot. We're not going to show you directly, but over in the streets, allegedly. Obviously, I can't confirm it, but this video did come out of Iran. All right, death to Khamenei, the Ayatollah. That's what you hear people saying. Play a little bit more, but it's pretty much this for a long time. tons of shots, people screaming, people yelling, tons of shots. Death to the dictator, someone screaming. All right, so pretty horrific. More and more intelligence and information coming out about what's going on the ground there, which is what's informing President Trump's statements. He knows it's getting worse, and until they stop, he's not going to do any deals with them. And in fact, he was asked, well, what are you going to do if they don't stop? And he said, I'm not going to tell you that, but you'll find out soon. So it's as if the president is considering, some kind of invasion or taking out the regime in some way or another. He's given them many warnings. It's interesting is the Persian people there are many good people there in Tehran, in Iran. There's multiple Christians there, believe it or not. So, it might be easy to say, oh, that's just a terrible country. No, it's a terrible regime that's been leading this place. And obviously, President Trump has a lot of sympathy for them and doesn't want this to go on. And so we'll see how this ends up. But terrible images and sounds coming out of there of them just essentially spraying crowds with bullets and killing people. Again, the estimates are up to 20,000 people dead in Iran. Now we move to some sad news from today. Dilbert creator Scott Adams has passed away. He was battling prostate cancer. He'd been trying various different treatments and some experimental drugs. And unfortunately, it just was not enough. But he had made peace with that about 10 days ago, putting out a video saying he was converting to Christianity. Basically saying, that if he was wrong, then, what does he have to lose? I hope that when he was alone with God, his confession and repentance obtained authenticity. The video, I was sort of like, oh, that's not really what Christianity is. But nonetheless, I hope that he was truly able to be regenerated and converted before he died. And he, of course, was the creator of Dilbert, Scott Adams, passing away today. President Trump posted this. The great influencer Scott Adams has passed away, a fantastic guy who liked and respected me when it wasn't fashionable to do so. He bravely fought a long battle against a terrible disease. My condolences go out to his family and all his friends, his many friends and listeners. He will be truly missed. God bless you, Scott. Now, Scott Adams was, a polarizing figure, but he made the comic Dilbert, which was super funny. But he said some things, on his podcast and other things that were controversial, polarizing. I would say, there are plenty of times where I'm like, that, no way. But there were other things that when I first heard them from Scott Adams, I was like, dude, no way. That is a horrible take. And then as I thought about it, sort of wrestled with it and chewed on it, I'm like, you know what? He actually does have a point. Multiple things like that. It just was uncomfortable to hear it at first because of the conditioning that we have. Obviously didn't agree with him on everything. I didn't watch him that much. Really hardly at all. Never watched a full program, just here and there. But nonetheless, he had a great following and was really, really loved by his followers. You wouldn't know it, though, if you were reading People magazine today, because the headline is Scott Adams, disgraced Dilbert creator, dies at 68. Dilbert was pulled from wide circulation after Adams' racist rant in 2023. And that rant, I don't remember exactly all the words, but just in a snippet, it sounded horrible. But when you heard it in the context, it was like, okay, I understand what he's saying. Just maybe the way he was saying it, because he clarified it over and over and over later, and it was like, okay. But nonetheless, it got canceled. And a lot of people found out who he was that never knew who he was. But nonetheless, disgraced Dilbert creator. That's how they remember him in People magazine, which is, I mean, that's just not fair. And you didn't even need to add that. But yet, when some horrible person dies, some terrorist dies or whatever, they find some way to, in the liberal media, to, prop them up, of course. Anyway, I digress. Let's get some news on the economy. This came out a few days ago. President Trump just cut the U.S. trade deficit in half, lowest in nearly 2 decades. CNBC is in total shock at these numbers. It's like this happens every few weeks. Every time they get another number, I can't believe it.
Go up. This is unreal. The movement in this number, minus 29.4 billion. We cut it basically in half. We cut it in half. Just consider this. In March, it was 136 billion. Right now, it's a whisker under 30 billion. We haven't been that small in a long time. I don't have enough records here to go back that far, but you're going back a ways. And here's the news on why it moved lower.
Okay. They cut the clip off there, but trade deficit lower than it has been in a long time. This is good, a good indicator for our economy, good indicator for our exports. Cutting it in half, lowest in nearly 2 decades, this trade deficit, which means it's no longer everyone, we're buying everyone else's stuff and they're not buying ours, right? Okay, next story here, and that is Candace Owens. Candace Owens is still crazy, okay? Candace Owens is still crazy. She's not coming to her senses. In fact, it's going the other direction because now she's on her show talking about her dreams and how they must mean something about the plot against Charlie Kirk.
Anyways, the setting of this particular dream, however, had one dramatic difference. We were not there for the opening of the embassy. And this difference, by the way, I don't really understand yet. I'm just sharing it with you. Instead, we were there in this dream setting for Bibi Netanyahu's wife's funeral. Again, that makes entirely no sense. I've never.
She's literally dreaming about Bibi Netanyahu's wife's funeral. I mean, someone ought to interpret this dream so we can find out what the heck is wrong with this girl.
Met his wife. I've never spoken about his wife. I know nothing about his wife. So that's just the context of it. I don't make the rules of dream world. And obviously, as we were sitting there, it didn't strike me as weird because when you're in your dream state, everything that happens for some reason feels like, oh yeah, this is totally normal. Anyway, Charlie said to me, I don't have much time. He followed that up explaining to me that I needed to see what happened on his left. And he told me explicitly, they betrayed me, multiple people. And I said, I know, but who?
Again, this is her dream. Charlie Kirk's telling her, oh, these people betrayed me. Of course, they're in Israel at the funeral of Bibi Netanyahu's deceased wife.
Then came the frustrating part of the dream. Every time I would say who, when you're in a dream and you go who, or you try to speak in the dream and then suddenly you're actually speaking in real life and you start to wake yourself up from the dream by accident. That's what kept happening. And whenever I would try to listen to what he was saying, it sounded like he was underwater. So I was frustrated by this. I can't get to the part where you tell me who betrayed you. It wasn't until the 3rd week after his death that finally one face came through in this dream. It came through as clear as day from around the corner of the restaurant. And it was Andrew Colbett's. Now you have to imagine in the immediate aftermath of this, I was not thinking Turning Point USA. Where we're at today is almost like unimaginable going back there. In fact, I was very friendly with Andrew Colbett. We had spoken extensively in the aftermath of Charlie's death. I've known him for years. And I felt really weird about having seen him in this dream, but it was so vivid and it was so compelling that I felt that, as weird and as odd as it was, that I had to text him and tell him what I saw. And this is the text, just sharing with you so you guys know if this all really happened. I said, I rarely have vivid dreams, but I had one clear as day this weekend. Charlie came to me and he sat down and he told me that he did not have much time, that I needed to know that he was in fact betrayed and that they are hiding what happened to my left. I believe his soul is in purgatory, and I believe that you know much more than you've said publicly or privately.
How ridiculous is this, huh? So this is on October 6th. Andrew Colvett is a guy who works inside of Charlie Kirk's organization. She literally texted this to this dude on October 6th. I rarely have vivid dreams, but had one as clear as day this weekend. Charlie came to me, sat down, told me he didn't have much time, but that I needed to know that he was in fact betrayed and that they are hiding what happened to my left. To my left. I believe his soul is in purgatory, and I believe you know much more than you've said publicly or privately. So she believes, truly believes, that Charlie Kirk is in purgatory, which our Catholic friends believe. I don't believe it, but nonetheless, she set that aside. She believes Charlie Kirk is in purgatory and literally talking to her through this dream. That's what she implies here. It's one thing if you believe he's in purgatory. Okay? Set that aside. By her text and her implication, she believes that this, because Charlie Kirk's in purgatory, according to her, it's completely conceivable that he came to her and spoke to her through this dream to tell her they are hiding what happened to my left. This is how bonkers this woman is.
And Andrew Colvett never answered. Last time Andrew Colvett and I spoke.
Gee, I wonder why he never answered. Who would answer someone who texted you that Charlie Kirk is speaking to you through your dreams to reveal the cover-up that's to his left? How do you respond to that? Well, there's nothing I can say that's going to make any sense to someone who is freaking nuts. Not going to work. Why try? And he never responded to me again. He hasn't talked to me since I freaking showed how nuts I am. Wow, well, that's so surprising, Candace. That must mean something too, that he didn't respond to you. He must have something to hide, or he believes you're nuts. Either or, right? But of course, she implies that it has to be an implication of guilt. Telling you, you don't have to listen to me. You don't have to believe me. But if you're watching the show right now, you came here to hear what I have to say. And what I have to say is, friends, don't let friends watch Candace Owens. At one time, she may have been someone who had discernment and wisdom and an interesting take. Those days are gone. I'm not mad at you if you still watch her, but I'm just telling you, for the sake of your soul and the health of your mind, get away from this person. The truth is not in her. The truth is not in her. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. All right. We good? Right. We're good. Everything's fine. Everything's fine, right? Okay. How about what's next? By the way, give us a thumbs up, repost this, share this live. Make sure you're following me. You can find all my social stuff at IkeReport.com. That's where all my social media handles are. Follow me on X at Ike Wingate. Give us a thumbs up if you're watching on Rumble and repost. All those things. Also, consider helping us out. If you want to help us cover our costs to put on this program, we would appreciate your help using Cash App or Venmo at IkeReport.com. $5, $10, $20. Thank you, Vicky, our single contribution on the board right now. Thank you very much. Cash App or Venmo at IkeReport.com or in the chat on Rumble. Now this.
It's time for today's Triggered Liberal.
All right. This person believes that Nicole Good, Renee Good, whatever her name is, was shot because she was queer. They had to find some reason other than the truth, right? Take a look.
He shot her because she was queer. He shot her because she was queer. You can see so clearly. I didn't think that it was like that before, but when you see the footage, he shot her because she was queer. And you voted for this.
Okay. I don't know how this person would have delineated that the ICE agent shot her. Again, it's a tragedy. I'm not making light of the tragedy. I've gone through this ad nauseum previously in the show. If you don't believe me, go back to the beginning and watch. It's a tragedy. It's horrible. It didn't have to happen. But how did this ICE agent find out that this gal, Renee Good, was queer? Did he do like a quick gay test? Does he have gaydar on his gun? And he was like, oh, that's a queer. I mean, how? The interaction was pretty limited. But yet this person wants to find some reason to blame other than the cold, hard truth, which is this person obstructed, impeded, did not listen, and accelerated, and the officer had only the choice to believe that she was trying to kill him, and a tragedy happened. That's the truth. But apparently, you can't handle the truth.
It's time for today's Triggered Liberal.
Sorry, couldn't pass up the opportunity for that quote. All right, thank you guys for being here. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank you to our friends at Right Side Broadcasting watching now. Make sure you're following me on X at Ike Wingate, at Ike Wingate. Follow me now. I'm trying to build up the followers. Prove it to me that you're watching this show by following me on X. Make sure you also can subscribe on YouTube. And, of course, follow me on Rumble and Instagram and all the things. All of my social media handles are at IkeReport.com. IkeReport.com. If you want to contribute, you can also do so as well at IkeReport.com with a $5, $10, $20 contribution using Cash App or Venmo. I left it all on the field for you guys today. If you appreciate what we've done here and you want to help us just cover our hard costs, we would certainly appreciate that. $5, $10, $20 right now via contribution at IkeReport.com. You can use Cash App, you can use Venmo, or you can contribute directly in the chat on Rumble. Those are the ways that you can help us out to continue to shine a light into the dark corners of our government, our culture, and our media. That is our mission here. Of course, we will be back before you know it. Make sure you set your notifications on, especially on X, so you know when we go live. I would say Rumble, but sometimes it's hit or miss, is it not? On some of these notifications, it seems a little hit or miss at times. So anyway, please set those confirmations, please. Not confirmations. I was reading a text. Set those notifications, please. Okay. All right, my friends, I hope you have a fantastic day. Remember, it's not time to back down. It's time to double down because the truth is worth it. God bless you. God bless America. And long live Charlie Kirk.
Rate, subscribe, and leave a review. It's how we get the word out amidst the chaos. Thanks for listening to The Ike Wingate Show.